Tuesday, September 21st on ABC.
Well, if Juju didn't motivate you on her bike, check out this family. That's the Vogel family of Boise, Idaho, 2.5 years ago. The family decided to stop spinning their wheels at home, at least, and embark on an adventure. Now, Mom, Dad, their 10-year-old twins cycling the 18,000-mile Pan American Highway. By the way, that's from Alaska to the tip of Argentina. This crew's here looking at me in the studio saying, what? 14,000 miles so far? And it's a story we saw there in Parade Magazine first. Nancy, John, Davey, Daryl, Vogel, all joining us from Skype. Their hotel room, I believe, in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. Is that where you are?
That is where we are, yes.
You guys look great, and I know that's Davey in the background, Daryl in front, and John, I think it's your birthday. Happy birthday from all of us here at GMA. And tell me, how's the trip going?
It's going great. We're having a great time. We're learning a lot, seeing a lot, learning a lot about different cultures. It's going great.
And Nancy, how are the kids holding up?
The kids actually holding up much better than John and I are. They're young, they're only 12. John and I are both old fogies at this point.
You're 14,000 miles into this, and I've got to ask you, is there any point where you're like, why are we doing this? Whose idea was this?
There have been a few moments like that, but really very few. Really, it's gone so amazingly well, and everything is kind of just fallen into place. There was one moment up in northern Peru when I started thinking, I don't know if this is worth it. Let's just call it a day and go back home. Daryl actually was the one who kind of turned me around and said, you know what, Mom, it's not going to do any good to complain. It's not going to do any good to, bitch, moan, and complain about it. You just have to move on and keep going, and hopefully things will turn around. And of course they did. I mean, as we moved further south, things really did turn around, and it's been great.
I sort of got a kick out of the fact that you ran into some buffalo along the way. Is that when you said we're not in Kansas anymore?
I think it might have been, yeah. Yeah, that was just one of those magical moments. We're riding along up in northern British Columbia and saw this buffalo on the side of the road. I went out to go around it, and right as we were going around, he started running along the road right alongside of us, and it was just so amazing. The four of us were just pedaling like crazy to try to keep up with him, and just the power, and he was so incredible. One of those magical moments that I'm sure none of us will ever forget.
Hey, Davey, I see you in the back there whispering into Dad's ear. How hard is it just to keep pedaling and pedaling? I mean, you're 10, and you're pedaling really across the world.
Well, actually, we're 12. But we were 10 when we started out.
You're 12 now because it's taken so long. I couldn't keep up with how many birthdays you've had since then. And just tell me what it's been like for you, Davey. Are you having a good time still?
Yeah.
And Daryl, you're in the front row there. How about you? Davey didn't sound so convincing there. You holding up?
Yeah.
And what's it like when you're on the road, you run into Buffalo or all these villages across the world that we've seen in sort of your video diary there? It must be so fascinating to sort of see different people, different cultures along the way.
They're just more people.
Is there one particular site for the two of you that stands out the most?
A river hike in Belize.
I love this. You guys are jumping off the edge there into the water. I don't know where that was along the way, but a lot of folks here have got to be wondering, with back-to-school season starting this week, how have the two of you handled that? And Mom and Dad, perhaps you can jump in on this. Are you doing the educating along the way? And certainly what they just see off the bike is an education in and of itself.
Oh, they're getting a great education. Both Nancy and I are teachers, so we're keeping up with the traditional lessons, and in addition to that, they're getting great geography lessons, learning and experiencing different cultures, and they're also getting PE, a lot of PE.
Yeah, I can imagine. And Nancy, we can see the weather gear in some of these pictures. Tell me about just the sheer amount of weather you've encountered, the weather of extremes, really.
There have been some extremes, yeah. We need to be prepared for all seasons. As we were going through the U.S., through Wyoming, major winter storm moved in. We ended up having to hole up in a hotel for a few days, but even when we took off, it was still really cold. Southern Peru, it's winter down here right now, and so southern Peru climbing up a 15,000-foot pass. It was pretty darn cold at the top. And at the same time, we've also gone through Central America, where it was outrageously hot, and we were just sweating like crazy all day long. So yeah, we've definitely dealt with weather.
Well, an extraordinary journey, 14,000 miles. They're coming to us from Bolivia on their way to Argentina. Daryl, I saw the yawn in the front row there, and on Skype it's sort of slow motion, so hopefully get a little rest after this. twins there with their mom, Nancy, their dad, John. And John, happy birthday to you. Good luck on the rest of the journey.
All right, well, thank you very much.
We'll check in with you along the way. And coming up here on Good Morning America this